All right, just going to hop in here and do a reality TV pop culture moment, a casting choice that I think is actually brilliant. So we're talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, of the franchise, Orange County I like, Potomac I love, New Jersey I love, Miami. Where's Miami? We need more Miami. But Beverly Hills has always been a bit of a struggle for me. Not to say there isn't a couple good cast members, but who cares? I just don't always love Beverly Hills. And it's successful. Fine. But let's talk about what's important. How great is it that Tracy Tutor of $1 Million Listing is going to go to Beverly Hills? Just the same way that when Rachel Zoe came to Beverly Hills Real Housewives TV show, reality show, it got better. And I think Tracy Tutor is right there. I mean, where I think she'll do good is she's going to essentially be so contrast to the other cast members who are living so deeply in wealth. And I wouldn't say delusion because it's their truth. Being so successful, being so wealthy, I'm talking about the other cast members, but they are sort of forgetting I don't want to say humble beginnings because who knows if they had it. I know Erica Jane possibly did, but they are a bit detached. And Tracy, there is something that's her instincts are so strong. She questions everything. She asks say that again. What did you say? What did you mean by that? And I think though she came from a lot, she's going to offer up this level of being the voice of the audience, because half the time these cast members, like a Sutton Strack, they say things and they're, I'm self-made and I've been working so hard, and not that we can't sit in the wealth as the problem of the show, because that's what Beverly Hills is leaned upon. But I'm saying Tracy is authentically who she is. She had a good run at it, comes from a lot of stuff, but then didn't succeed in acting, even though she should have. Dominated in real estate. And you can't be so assertive and then not be... now everyone essentially on the cast is going to have to give it up and be authentic, because you're not going to have a way to, I don't want to say lie, but omit information to Tracy, because she will sniff it out. She will assess. She will do an appraisal, if you will, like she did in real estate. And Tracy is one of my favorites. What I like about Tracy, I'm going to think of the one negative at the end, but let's do all the positives, because I don't really think she has a negative, but we have to think and try to find something that maybe would be a problem. But really, this is a 5-star casting. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the show itself, the franchise celebrating 20 years, and now Tracy Tutor leaving $1 Million Listing. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be leaving because essentially the show's not on. But here's what's important about this. And again, we'll do the negative at the very end. Here's the positive. She is assertive. She actually has a job. One of the things about the show, and I wouldn't knock it either, you do the show and the show becomes your job. A lot of the cast members, they are, as the title says, a real housewife, or they have a career. And then over the years, their job is to be on the show. And Tracy Tutor will probably go into that space also, but I think... she just has a certain business entrepreneur mentality that has already worked on $1 Million Listing. Now, the thing is, a lot of times when I do my 1,500 episodes, you can check it all out at RandomlyRJr.com. And of course, patreon.com/RandomlyRonnieJr. If you want to support, once again, patreon.com/RandomlyRonnieJr. If you want to support, all my radio work from 20 years ago, my checks should be adding up and they're not. So if you could help, that's great. But here's what I'm going to say. Normally, Grumpy Me talks about, the concept of, certain nepotism type situations, or, sort of having to compete, this cast member, or this person for that matter, having to sort of compete, but it's hard to compete when you're going up against somebody who structurally comes from so much wealth. As you know, I'll always talk a little interestingly about that, because it is hard to compete. Thinking about my growing and trying to succeed, pound for pound, I always feel like I'm doing good. But when you got this person and that person and this person and that person, and everyone, is either connected or balling, it's hard to make that same move pound for pound. I'm good. But a lot of times when you're trying to get the job, no one gives you that job. So I have my complete shock and awe that I like Tracy as much as I do, because she will even say that she does come from a lot. She is so successful. I mean, what is her father's job is beyond wealthy. But Much like when she linked up with Josh Flagg on $1 Million Listing, who also, you know, what was he, season 2? He's like, yeah, you know, he's a guy that went to Beverly Hills High and everything like that. The contexts are deep. Not everyone is going to have context like Josh. But what I like about Josh and what I like about Tracy, staying on the Josh part, Josh would say, yeah, season 2, I just made a call and said I need to like fix the show. Well, not everyone's getting that access. So I will always say that nepotism and wealth are hard to battle in terms of you trying to succeed and compete against. So never hold your head down. Be proud and positive of the work that you do. But I don't have a blanket problem with like across the board, a blanket like I don't like all nepotism type situations, and that's not exactly what Tracy has. But she is loaded, and it was an easy run for her. However, Josh and Tracy lean so deeply into who they are that I like that. And number 2, I don't know if they did this because on $1 Million Listing, I don't know if they did this because there's sort of usually like an elephant in the room, like almost like they have to prove themselves. I know they don't give a damn really, but I feel like because they're so well off and wealthy to start, that at least for Tracy's case, and especially in real estate, a male-dominated field, I assume, maybe, I don't know, structurally, I don't know, she had to go above and beyond in ways that I've not seen such grit from somebody who maybe didn't need to have that much grit. And then the part that makes Tracy the best as well is, again, she's owning. She always has. She's never like done one of these things, and a lot of cast members do this. I came from nothing. I was self-made, and they're not, right? Tracy's always like, it is what it is, but she will always talk about her vulnerability, the stuff within her actual, you know, her family, and then even, you know, she's, I believe, on the verge of having an empty nest and going into that different stratosphere of life. Everything that Tracy's done, she's always had something to back it, and that's why she was so good at real estate. She's going to be so good at Beverly Hills. I cannot go on and on. I think Tracy Tutor this is the moment. Like, this is the moment everyone was waiting for. Tracy Tutor coming to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is like when everyone who loves Summer House Season 1 knew that eventually Lindsay Hubbard either needed Real Housewives of New York sort of as a graduated show-to-show experience, or to lead her own show, and Lindsay got In the City. There's these inevitable things that are essentially going to happen, and then when they do finally happen, we're all like, we knew the time has come. Tracy is so good at this. She is going to revive not just Beverly Hills, she's going to revive the franchise. I think she is just that talented. But let's really sit with it. Let's break it down. We won't do a long episode, but let's talk about it.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.
Okay, and lastly, so again, she is 5 stars. Tracy is going to be great for the show. I do like it. Beverly Hills is one of the ones that I watch the least, but I will say this is where I will go. The only thing that we will have to, as viewers, and again, we're just watching the show, we're not in it, but some of the times when you see her in interviews, she may be leaning into, you know, her physical quite a bit, and the, you know, Botox this and a surgery this and a surgery that. You do sort of wonder with her headstrongness. She's such a headstrong lady that you don't want her to look like, you know, one of these aged older gals that start to not like look like herself because they're so enthralled with the aging process is difficult, but also this show too. So if I had to, I'm saying literally this whole episode is about how great this casting is. So whoever did this is the best casting ever for a reality show in a long time. But if I had to go into one thing that I think Tracy does possibly suffer with, and may not even know it yet, is there's a little bit of body dysmorphia that seems looming in the way that she talks about certain things, and it's just something to keep an eye out for in the long run. And you know, it's not to be knocked either. I think about, like, you know, me doing radio 20 years ago. At one moment in radio, I was 320 pounds. The other moment, I'm 180 pounds. So knowing, like, being on camera and how that gets a reaction, good, bad, no matter how disciplined and confident you are, it's not easy. And I think that I've seen, because I watch like hour-long interviews, and I've kind of watched a bunch of Tracy's interviews over the course of, you know, $1 Million Listing, and wondering if it was going to come back. She does a lot of the estate media stuff with Josh Flagg. They're very good. I love that duo. But it feels like one looming thing is kind of like her aging process, sort of, and this is just a caution, sort of feels like it's like candy. Like she just, it almost feels like she can't at some point be suffice and satisfied. It's fine now. She's very young, but as she gets older, and again, this is not a knock. This is something we are all having to kind of look into, essentially at the proverbial mirror. As great and as confident as I could try to be, there are times where, like, if the lighting is bad or whatever, like, I always say it like this. It wouldn't be a level of, you could say something about me. Oh, you gained weight. Look at your double chin randomly, Ronnie. Okay, well, take a walk, that kind of thing. I don't care about your opinion. And I think Tracy's like that. But there's also the level of personal satisfaction. Like, I'm not trying to, I could lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it is, right? But I'm not trying to lose it on the basis of anyone else. I'm trying to lose it on the basis of me. It's not for your satisfaction. Like, I might gain 150 just because you want to have an opinion. And I'm just roping all that around by saying that the aging process is so difficult. I look at like Real Housewives of Orange County and how there's so much of a talk of like Shannon has no storyline and is kind of mean. But the storyline is the empty nest syndrome that she's going through. She, in her case, what is her name? Shannon, doesn't have love at the moment. Kind of eerie growing and aging. That aging process, it may not be the sexiest storyline, but if you could get a gal like Tracy to kind of look into it, it's just going to give yet another dynamic of how wonderful she is. But she is 5 stars. Tracy Tutor, 5 stars. So good. I would say like Kyle could, she's no longer needed. Let's let Tracy and Rachel Zoe be the leads along with Erica and Bose and Dorit, but that's neither here nor there. But I think this is going to be a big win for not only Beverly Hills, the TV show, but also the Real Housewives franchise. Who would you also want to see on this particular cast, or any of the cast? All the franchise throughout it. There's 20 years of it, and there's like several cities. So who would you want to see back in the fold? Kenya Moore back on Atlanta? I don't know.